So, Alistair, Johnny, it's been a little while since I spoke to both of you. I think, Johnny, your last time was Jersey, and you were telling me at that point it was the worst season that you'd ever had. Disaster or something to that effect. Bit of a smile on your face now, much more positive since then. Good start to the year in Singapore. All healthy and looking forward, I hope, to a positive 2019.
Yeah, last time we spoke in Jersey. Yeah, it wasn't my finest year last year, but this year has gone great so far. I've kind of gone back to more basic training, if you like, more old school of just being consistent, turning in, week out and getting the training done, rather than trying to go too hard in every session and end up then getting injured again and then being on the comeback trail. And I've enjoyed it, it's gone well. I enjoyed racing in Singapore. I enjoyed firstly preparing for the heat in Thailand, and then actually being on the start line without any niggles, without any injuries. And then being on the start line, like, I want to race here. I'm not looking forward to get back into the hotel when it's all done. I actually want to be on the start line, and it's great. And I raced well. I enjoyed racing. And since I've come back from Singapore, I've got another 4 or 5 weeks of very good training in preparation for Bermuda.
It's not a bad place to do your next racing, to be fair.
I've chosen some good venues so far, Singapore and Bermuda.
Not bad. I guess for both of you, yourself as well, as that, even though you got the silver medal at the 70.3 Worlds, given what you've done over the last 10 years, you'd probably still regard 2019 in its entirety not as a great year. For both of you, when you've had that, I guess there's always that temptation to potentially panic a bit, throw out everything else, and we must change anything. What have you learned through that, and how have you got back to the position where, I think as we'll find out in a minute, both of you in a pretty good place right now early on in the year?
I think when you have a bad year, I think the probability is that you're going to have a bad year in some time in 10 or 12 years or something. So not to panic about it too much, and definitely we've had that experience over the years of having bad races, and sometimes it is just bad luck. And I think the second thing is you just go back to, do you know what works? And Johnny says he's gone to a kind of traditional training and you kind of might say that, but if you looked at a training week you wouldn't notice what's changed. So it's about just doing the simple things right, I think, doing what you do day in day out. And I think that's one of the things about triathlon. It's really easy to get distracted by minutiae and think about massive theories about why things go right or wrong, and lose focus on just the simplicity of what training is. And touch wood, we've just had a bit of luck that we've both been able to get on with that simple training the last few months.
And I don't know if we can see it on camera, but you've got a few scars on your arm there. Yeah. You had a bit of a crash this week, so we've got to get the injuries and that stuff out of the way, because and I know you've answered it probably a million times today, but just tell us about where you are health-wise as we are just about to go into the start of the first quarter.
I'm in a great position because this is pretty much my only injury at the moment. So, well, yeah, I've got loads of road rash, but in terms of injuries, that's about as good as it gets for me. So I'm quite happy. But yeah, I've had a good winter training so far, and there's nothing wrong with me currently apart from a bit of road rash. So that's definitely considered good.
Super. And again, the second question again, we've got to ask it. I know you probably answered it a million times. Everyone talks about what are your plans in terms of races. I'll probably answer the question, then you can tell me how you came to that decision. So I know you said you still have not specifically decided it's A or B, you're keeping your options open. Just maybe give us the background as to how you got to where you are now, and your sort of mental approach to what racing that you're going to do this year, and maybe looking forward for the next 18 months or so.
Well, my biggest thing this year is to stay healthy and injury free and enjoying racing firstly, and secondly, obviously the Olympics is on the horizon, but I don't really feel like I'm in the place to say I'm going to commit for that for 18 months, and I genuinely think that's probably not the best thing to do for me anyway, but also the best thing performance wise. I kind of feel if I could be in the shape I'm in now in 12 or 14 months time, and have 2 or 3 months maximum of a lead into the Olympics, I could be pretty close to being at my best. So and that allows me really to spend the next year doing the other things that I want to do, so focus on half Ironman, trying to win the world title at that, do some ITU racing, just enough to keep that door open as it were, make sure I'm ranked in the top 120 in the world or whatever the fine detail is that I've never even worried about before, and potentially look at other kind of racing, and that motivates me. It keeps the pressure off, trying to train hard to be fit for the fast racing and the potential high injury risk of that, and hopefully keeps me in a good place.
So will we see both of you potentially racing in, because this year there is an opportunity to auto-qualify for the Olympic Games, and I think for both of you as previous medalists, if you had a good result in one of the two qualifications, you could potentially do that. So would those Yokohama and Tokyo races be on your schedule within those other races that you're also doing for this year?
I won't race Yokohama. I think that's going to be too early for me to race very well anyway. My main focus is really doing some short course racing and having a good result at World Series level, and if that happens, I might consider racing Tokyo. If not, I won't, and I'll focus on longer distance stuff.
I suppose for you Johnny, I'm assuming Yokohama, Tokyo would definitely be on your calendar.
Yeah, well, for me, as a reigning Olympic medalist, you have to only medal in Tokyo, so that's really the main one of the year. Because the perfect scenario for me is to qualify a year out. That gives you 12 months preparation, which has been very important in both my Olympics so far, but it'll be even more important this time round, get ready for the heat. So the main aim for the year is to race well in Tokyo and then get that qualification sorted. And then the other aim for the year for me is I've kind of gone away now from targeting the whole World Series. I've made that mistake of going around the world before and not racing very well in any of them races. And I'm going to kind of target specific ones. So when I go to World Series, I'm going to be ready on that start line. So Bermuda's my next one, and then I go to Yokohama and Leeds and try and race very, very well at those individual ones. And if that means I get a good overall result in the World Series, then great, rather than chasing it.
I guess that you mentioned Leeds. In terms of the badge year last year, one DNS and one DNF's probably not a great. After first and second 2 years in.
I'm not sure what was best, a DNF or DNS. Yeah, I think Leeds pretty much summed up my year last year. I actually got quite fit for Leeds. I was on the start line, and if I'd been in good condition to race, I would have been that good shot. But whatever happened, whether it is the water from a few days before or illness from a hotel, I've never felt so bad on the bike in my life. And I knew something was wrong, and then you can't race if you're unwell, and that's one of the toughest moments of my career, was that 2.5k around the Leeds City Centre. It seemed to take about 2 hours.
I was doing the commentary there and trying to make out that Johnny was being tactical, thinking this is not Johnny being tactical, he's not having a good day. It was quite difficult.
When I looked at my power and I showed 100 watts, and I'm in trouble.
Let's just talk about Leeds, because obviously you've done, both of you, so many races, you've won so many medals, big races, championships and the like. But I can honestly say from being at events, seeing the smile, particularly that first year at Leeds, on your faces, and how much it meant to you, it was probably almost as big as an Olympics or anything else. So just tell us what racing at home actually means to you, and why it's such an important and big event for both of you.
It was really special, obviously, first off bringing that race to Leeds in the first place. Even 2 or 3 years beforehand, no one would have believed a World Series would make it to Leeds, so to get it there was really special. To get it there, I think both of us had told pretty much everyone that matters in the world triathlon kind of world that it'd be the best crowds that they'd ever seen in a triathlon. So we were stood on the start line going, please, people turn up. And there were, the banks of Roundhay Park Lake were filled with people, and it was fantastic. And then we pulled into the city centre, and there was crowds that I think have only been beaten by a London Olympics. Every other race I've been to have been nowhere near. And so it was a really special day. And then I think on that particular day in 2016, I'd had a few dodgy months in the lead up to that. So I kind of didn't think I was going to win that race. So to win it in the end, I was really pleased.
And also 2017, that was the year, for people that don't remember, you had that breakaway on the bike with a couple of French guys, I think. Then the pack were chasing you down. They'd almost got you. I think it was 7 or 8 seconds. And it was like suicide that you're going to continue on your own, but you did it and you achieved it. And in my eyes, it's still one of the best cycling performances I've ever witnessed or even seen anywhere. Just tell us how tough that was, and what do you think you could have done that anywhere else in the world other than Leeds?
2017 was a very special year. I remember firstly getting into the city centre circuit, just the two of us. It was a very proud moment as a Leeds lad. And then we rode really hard in the city centre. The time gap was coming down, and then like you said, it got down to 6 to 7 seconds. I'd given up by then, and Alistair said, no, keep on pushing, come on, one more lap. And then it was one of those dream scenarios when all of a sudden it got up to 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. You think, that's it, we're gone now. I would have given up, definitely. It was probably the hardest bike ride I've ever done. I got off that bike thinking I'd quite happily stop here and that'd be it, and let's just call it a day here. But it's bravery. You get rewarded sometimes with bravery, and I don't think it happened on many other courses. It had to be the technical aspect of Leeds. We've actually done it before in Stockholm when it's really wet and slippery, but you need a very special course to do that. And on the World Series calendar now, we don't have many good courses like that, so Leeds is one of the only ones. And it was one of those freak days when the pack thought they'd caught us, and then we went, and then they stopped chasing and fell out with each other, and we need more days like that.
Talking about courses that might suit you, Alistair, you talked about 70.3 Worlds this year in Nice, so obviously there's going to be not just climbs but some long climbs. From what I know about you, I've spoken to in the past, seen you training and racing, I'm guessing that's a box ticked in your eyes and something that would be very attractive to you in terms of a course and an opportunity to use your cycling ability beyond a rolling or just a drag strip course.
Yeah, I think that course in Nice is very exciting. I think it'll be a great 70.3 World Champs course. I think it'll produce some really good, interesting results. And yeah, it's definitely a course that'll suit me better than last year. I think, having said that, it's there's other people I think who are going to be interested in the course, and it's going to make it a really competitive field.
Who do you think your biggest sort of competitors will be there?
I think it's hard to say. I think you've got to say Javier Gomez and Jan Frodeno. I'm not so sure what Jan Frodeno will ride like on a mountain like that, but you know, he's going to be pretty good. So yeah.
And how's your development and comfort gone now in terms of, obviously you had the move to the new style of bike and obviously a new branded bike with Scott. We know you've gone through various iterations, and that's the constant process, I guess, in terms of bike fit and stuff. Are you now feeling really comfortable, aerodynamic, and got that boxes all ticked?
I'm still working on my bike position, my time trial bike. I think it is a constant kind of progress, really, of the trade-off between aerodynamics and comfort and what allows you to generate the power, and I'm still doing work on that. But I think, you know, I'm in the ballpark of being 95% of the way there and able to test kind of specifics of, I guess, clothing and helmets around that and stuff. But yeah, it's come a long way, and yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with where I am.
And Johnny, started this year Super League. You've done all of the Super League events, had some great results, average results, not so good results. Just tell us about that experience and how different that is from an athlete point of view from your normal sort of sprint and Olympic distance ITU racing.
I think Super League has been great from an athlete point of view to race. It's good to have something new and exciting, and I've been on the start line in Super League looking forward to the racing and not knowing what's going to happen, which has been brilliant. The different race formats of changing the order, the enduro format, so swim back run, swim back run, swim back run, means that you can't have any weaknesses, and for once in triathlon you can actually show your strength across the board. Like we've seen how Henry Schumann can swim incredibly fast after the run. Now Richard Murray's not quite as good after swimming after running, and it's been great because I've never raced that before. Racing different places with the short laps, so the hard courses, and have more of a kind of relaxed feel about the whole Super League. And the Super League team have done a very, very good job, and I hope to race more because it is genuinely great fun. It's racing because I want to race rather than you kind of have to race, and I've enjoyed it. Yeah, so I'll race at the end of this year again some more Super Leagues and see how the series does.
And obviously you've not been able to race the last season, Alistair, but you've been pretty involved in commentary, and I think at least three of the four races from memory. How has that been from your point of view? I guess a different perspective on racing, looking from the outside in, which you don't normally get the opportunity to do.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the commentary. I think I would have definitely preferred to be in racing on the other side of the barrier, but the commentary's been quite good. That said, you know, I didn't commentate in Singapore because I wanted to focus on the training.
So, rounding up then, so Johnny, you're going to be racing Bermuda.
Yeah, Bermuda in about 4 weeks.
Alistair,
Not sure. There'll be something end of April.
It's all quiet. End of April. Okay. Well,
maybe or early May.
It keeps changing.
So there you go. End of April, early May. We'll hopefully see Alistair racing somewhere. I'm sure we'll see him racing Leeds in early June.
I'd like to race Leeds, yeah.
Good, so we'll see you there. So thanks a lot, guys. Good to catch
Thank
up finally. Been a little while, but hopefully we'll see you a bit more regularly through the season. So thanks again.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much.